Now we're gonna start with our clipper work, creating our guidelines just like we did on top and on the side and the back. We're gonna do the same thing, but this one's gonna be with clippers. Obviously, you're gonna set your guideline. That way you can see where you're going, just like on top. We create guidelines so you don't get lost in the sauce. So he wants down to the foils, a nice smooth ball fade. Start off with my trimmers to create that guideline. I'm gonna start right behind his ear, in the middle where it starts. Basically how you find your points, it's gonna be the middle of the ear for this type of fade, the burst fade. Where it connects here in the middle, behind the ear, and right by where the eyebrow's at, right here. That's gonna be my point. So I'm gonna go from here to here and around the ear. If you do it too low, you're not gonna be able to have too much of a fade, depending on how the client wants his fade. On this one, we want it more stretched, so we're gonna go from this point to this point. Mark right here, and then just follow it. Let the clipper do his work. And you see now you have a circle. And clean it up with the smooth side of the blade. That way the teeth don't scratch them if you go this way. Now the next part is I'm going with my clipper. I'm gonna be using the guard number 3. You can use a 4 or 5, but since he doesn't have that much length left on top, we just gonna brush this to the side and use a 3 to the top. We're just gonna go straight flush to the scalp and just go up to remove some of this weight. That way we have another guideline, and that's gonna let us know this is where we're gonna leave our foundation back here. Pull down the ear. I'm gonna come in with a 1.5, close, create another guideline, which is gonna be 0. It's gonna be 1.5. That's our third guideline. All right, so once I remove or debulk some of the area we created, we just start with a 0, one with a 3, then a 1.5 close. Now this is just the 1, because we're gonna start blending this line in. And remove this line. And same thing, just not taking it all the way up, just cleaning up this bottom area. And also using a corner technique, corner technique, which is not using the full blade. That way you're not cutting too much. Clipper close, corner technique, which is going to be just going in using this bottom teeth and moving it at a certain angle. Just a little flick motion. That way we're not digging in too much and removing too much with the full blade. And especially in this area behind the ear, because it's going to be a tight area we're going to be working with. So you have longer hair here and not enough here, but we need to reduce this area so it can blend in real smooth. You'll hear the hair crunch. That means you're cutting. And if you can't hear the hair, that means you're good to go. Which is a 0, open, close, open. Same thing. Pull down the ear. We're gonna go against the grain, clean that up. Corner technique, just cleaning that up. Especially back here because it's super tight and you don't wanna go in this direction. If you go across this direction, what you're gonna do is you're gonna reduce a lot of this length back here. You're gonna remove this, and we don't want that. We're gonna blend this in a little bit different. Because it's still long, it's still disconnected. We're gonna reduce it by, we can go in with the shears, the razor, or maybe even clipper over comb, depending on what's more comfortable for you. So we're just working one quadrant at a time. I'm working on this side, and then I'll move on to this side right here. I just want to remove this line right here that I have. And then slowly we'll close it 1 notch. Same thing with when cutting with clippers. Your body posture is very important, just like with scissors. You don't want to be too leaned forward or your neck, because what's going to happen is you're going to get tired and the blend is not going to come in as smooth. So same thing, you can tilt your client a little bit to the side, come in. Definitely all this just kind of like when we're doing with scissors, when we moving, pivoting our hand, same thing with our clippers. So we're using our fingers, one, to bring down the ear, that way it's not in our way and he will get less hair inside his ear. So you'll use your index finger, bring it down, this hand to comb down the hair that needs to get out of the way, and this to turn on your clippers, this for balance, and then you just gonna let the wrist do all the work. Let the wrist do all the work. If you feel like you have a heavy hand, just let the clipper sit there on top of the client's head and let the wrist do the motion. Then start slowly closing it and just work at the bottom where the line's at. Don't take it too high, because we already set our guidelines. We'll reduce that here in a second. So back here, I'm using this fingers to bring it down, because I'm gonna be working on this side now, just because it allows me to visualize it better, to see what else, the dark areas that are left. So we'll come in here with this, very lightly, just very lightly. Let the clipper do his work. Slow motion with the wrist. And I haven't even used the shaver yet. Once I add the shaver down this part, you'll see the fade blend in or stand out a little bit more. Right now I'm just going through all the motions, all the steps, setting my guideline, removing all those lines, those heavyweight lines. And that's what makes one of these haircuts stand out the most, the blend. And you add the scissor on top, it just brings it to a different level. Now that we're done with everything, I'm just refining, using my 0.5 guard, just refining that blend a little bit more. Like I said, we want to leave this area right here, this shelf, nice and heavy. Since this hair is lighter, we want to make sure it's not too dark, but also it's nice and blended. Don't spend too much time in one area. Keep it moving. If you feel like you can't get that line out or the rest out, just because what's gonna happen, you don't want to spend too much time in one area and irritate the scalp. Right here, I'm just cleaning up all the longer hairs before I come in with my foils. And we can start creating our shape here, cleaning all this, and giving it a nice structure at the for the haircut. Cleaning up all these little extra hairs right here. And for the front, we're gonna brush this back and then bring out the smaller hair forward. Start in the middle, lightly. Don't drag the trimmer too much, because like I said, you don't want to scratch your client. Just very lightly. We're just cleaning up all this hair, that way you have a nice solid lines, as natural as possible too, and solid. And come in with your trimmer like this. Just clean it up. Like I said, there's different techniques that you can use when creating certain hairstyles. You not necessarily have to use all scissors or all clippers. Making sure this hairstyle has a great shape to it. There you go. If you're comfortable with the comb, you can use that. And always double check your work and make sure everything sits nice. So you like the hair. All the weight that we cut earlier, you can just leave it right here, and that's what we're creating. We're creating the weight in the corners right here. And then back here, we'll clean it up a little bit more. It's a little bit too long back here. So we'll come in there with the texture razor again and just clean this up. We'll pick it up, come in here, and then we'll just like so, clean this up. We just gotta add a little bit of that. You gotta visualize it a little bit more, and just slightly touch it right there. And then we'll clean it up, but since I can't get in there with my scissors or anything, I'll just use a clipper over comb. I'll use my comb again. Pull up right here with one finger, come in there, clean it up. And soften the ends. Cleaning this up. We don't want a harsh line back here because it's not gonna make any sense having a harsh, just like a blunt line. We're gonna use this hair that's hanging out. It's a style to it. It's gonna overlap right here and just let the hair do its thing. Also, make sure you brush your client because you don't want them to be itchy throughout the haircut. Just clean it up like that. Come in with the foils. Go with the grain first. That way you're not creating heavy, harsh lines. Clean it up. You can hear that crunch. And just clean the bottom area right here. Same thing with the clipper, just, corner technique. Don't use the full blade. This is it's one of the new foil shavers that just came out. It's by JRL, single foil electric shaver. This shaver it brings it down to a smooth finish bald. Well, that's what we call it, a bald fade. Using a foil shaver, it takes the place of using a straight razor. And you can use this too to come clean the ends up. Just don't touch the hair, because if not, it will leave a small denture in it. Or you can come in and refine it with a straight razor if you want. But this is what a burst fade is. It's from down to the foil, down from dark to light, blend it in, has a shape like a circle, round, and then heavy weight here. And when you do on one side, you gotta do on the other side. One of the things back here, so you don't come in with your trimmers and create like a harsh line, you can come in with your comb and just clean that up with your razor. Soften this up. But also what it creates is shorter hair is gonna push longer hair, and it's gonna give this hair stand out a little bit more. As you can see right here, it's still kind of heavy, but it's fine. We'll clean that up here with our texture razor. We'll just pick this up, clean it up. And then you can come back and finish the rest with your trimmer. So what happens with the trimmer is just too harsh. I'll leave a heavy weight line. And here what I'm doing now is just detailing, going in with that feather razor, texture razor, sorry. And I'm just adding movement, style, and attitude. Because this type of hairstyles, that's what it is. It's not your typical hairstyle where it's, you can groom it nice to the office. It's more of, I got free time, or, I'm still young and be able to cool hairstyle. Goes with his flow, the way he dresses, his lifestyle. And I'm just picking up, I'm not sectioning anything out, I'm just picking up random areas where I feel like it looks heavy, and that's what I'll pick up, and that's what I'll clean up. But for somebody that's wants to understand, like, where do I find the heavy lines, where do I find it, just run your hands through it and you'll feel it. Like back here is still a little long or still a little bulky here, which bulky means that means that's where the weight's at. Because the length is already there, the shape is there. We're just adding, reducing a little bit of softer lines. And when you come in there with the product, how he's gonna style, you're gonna see all the texture, all the beautiful work you just did. And for this hairstyles, the texture razor is gonna be your best friend because it makes the hair look nice. But also you gotta be careful not to go too crazy with it because you can remove too much as well. So right there, you're spreading it out and making sure it's sitting nice. And for the most part, that's gonna be it. I'm just cleaning everything up right now, detailing with my straight razor. Make sure you stretch the skin to get a refined line. We're just cleaning up what we left off with the trimmer. Usually, for the most part, I just go with the grain. That way, I don't irritate the skin. But if you want that sharper, where it stands out, go against it. But with that, you gotta be careful. Move your client's head to where you're comfortable. That way you're not across his whole body. And like this area is still heavy, so I'm gonna have to clean that up and come in there. And you'll see where it needs to be cleaned up, because the sharper lines, when you edge it up, the whole haircut starts to stand out a little bit more. And as we can come in there and detail a little bit more. So we're gonna be adding a matte paste to his hair. That way it has a nice hold to it. This is the texturizer by Unite. So we'll be adding to it a little bit of texture powder. That way our layers, our texture can pop off more on his hairstyle. It's very light. Don't apply it directly. Just throw a little mist on it and slowly start shaping it. The texturizer I'm using is by Unite. Separating the fringe. That way it adds a nice look to it. So it's kind of like a brush back a little bit. And then back here in the crown area, we'll make sure it sticks out a little bit more, because it is a square shape. And we don't want the top too round. We just want it more flat. Let the hair do its thing, let it sit. The layers were gonna start showing off on their own once you just start scrunching their hair a little bit. And we still got a heavy weight line right here, but that's just the foundation of our hairstyle. So you can see the blend. You can see the fade from dark to light. And now we're gonna spread out a little bit back here, just that way everything's not too together, with our wide tooth comb by Utsumi. And then back here we'll just add a little bit of separation. Add some flow to it. And there you have it. Fresh.